Have you ever wondered if some habits while having sex are harming your body in old age? The truth is, staying sexually active as you get older is a powerful sign of health, physically, emotionally, and even socially. It shows that you still desire connection, still feel passion, and still want to share yourself with someone. But just like every other part of aging, intimacy changes too, and unless you're willing to grow with it, you might be doing things that quietly damage your body, your confidence, or your relationship. In this video, we're going to talk about 5 things older adults need to stop doing during sex, not to scold or shame, but to protect what matters most: trust, comfort, and connection. These habits aren't talked about often, but they're surprisingly common, and the moment you become aware of them, you open the door to something better, more relaxed, more fulfilling, and more in tune with where you are today. Because the goal isn't to chase what intimacy used to look like, it's to rediscover what it can look like now, free of pressure, full of possibility, and rooted in the kind of wisdom that only comes with age. Stay with me until the end, because you might be surprised by what needs to stop and what starts to flourish once it does. Now, let's get started. Number 1. Forcing through pain or discomfort. One of the most common and most quietly damaging mistakes older adults make during sex is trying to push through discomfort, whether it's joint pain, muscle stiffness, dryness, or a simple lack of energy. Ignoring these signs doesn't improve your strength, it just postpones healing and can lead to long-term physical stress that lingers far after the intimacy ends. As we age, our body sends signals more subtly. You might not feel a sharp pain, but a dull ache in your hips, your lower back, or even your knees may appear afterward. That quiet soreness? It's not just age, it's your body asking you to listen. And unfortunately, many people don't. They tell themselves it's nothing. They want to show their partner they're still up for it. And sometimes they're afraid to admit that things aren't as easy as they used to be. But forcing through discomfort doesn't deepen intimacy, it creates distance. You may finish the act, but what lingers is tension, resentment, and often avoidance. I remember a man named Edward, 72, who hadn't told his partner about the hip pain he felt every time they were intimate. He thought it would ruin the mood, but after months of suffering in silence, he began dreading the very thing that used to bring him joy. Once they talked, they adjusted their pace, they changed positions, they took breaks, and for the first time in years, he said, intimacy didn't feel like something to endure, it felt like something to enjoy. And that's the point. Pleasure at this stage of life isn't about proving anything. It's about being present. It's about feeling good in your body and trusting your partner enough to say, let's slow down, or, this isn't working for me right now. That kind of honesty doesn't kill desire, it builds it. Because nothing is more attractive than someone who knows themselves and respects their body enough to speak up. If you're noticing discomfort, don't ignore it, explore it. Ask yourself what might help. Is it more foreplay? Is it a supportive pillow? Is it simply choosing a different time of day when your body feels stronger? You don't have to stop being intimate, you just have to stop pretending pain doesn't matter. Because when you listen to your body, you invite your partner to do the same. And that creates a space where both of you feel safe, seen, and connected, not just during sex, but long after. Number 2. Skipping communication out of embarrassment. For many older couples, the most dangerous thing happening in the bedroom isn't physical, it's silence. And while it's easy to assume that after decades together you don't need to talk about sex anymore, that assumption is often where problems begin. Because if you're avoiding honest conversations out of embarrassment, fear, or habit, you may be unknowingly closing the door to the kind of connection you both need most right now. Let's be clear, this isn't about having long, awkward talks or analyzing every moment. It's about being able to say the simple things without shame, things like, I'm not feeling my best today, or, can we try that a little slower, or even, I miss how we used to hold each other after. These aren't complaints, they're invitations. And they become more important with age, not less. What used to feel good might not anymore. And what never mattered before might matter a great deal now. But if you're too embarrassed to speak up, or too afraid to ask your partner how they're feeling, you start guessing, you start avoiding, you start pretending, and slowly, what used to be a place of comfort becomes a space of pressure or even dread. I once spoke with a woman named Margaret, 69, who said she hadn't told her husband in years that intercourse had started to feel uncomfortable, not painful, just no longer pleasant. She was afraid he'd take it personally or feel rejected. But he'd been feeling unsure too. And neither of them had said a word. When they finally talked, nervously at first, they found that what they both wanted wasn't more sex, but more closeness, more laughter, more slow touches, more time without expectations. And once they gave each other permission to be honest, everything opened up, not just in the bedroom, but everywhere else. That's the power of communication. It takes something heavy and makes it light. It takes something confusing and makes it clear. And more than anything, it says, I care enough about us to be real. So, if you've been skipping the talk because you're embarrassed, or if you've been waiting for your partner to bring it up first, don't. Speak gently, but speak, because intimacy that grows with you starts with words that honor who you both are now, not who you were 20 or 30 years ago. If you're still watching this video and finding these insights valuable, please comment number 2 below to let me know you're here. And if you haven't subscribed yet, I recommend you subscribe and turn on the bell so you don't miss any videos. Your support helps us continue creating good content to inform and inspire you. Now, let's move forward. Number 3, relying on outdated techniques from decades ago. One of the most common traps older adults fall into is believing that what worked in their 30s or 40s should still work the same way today. But the truth is, trying to recreate the past, down to the same rhythm, routine, or positions, often leads to frustration instead of fulfillment. Because intimacy isn't a performance to be repeated, it's an experience to be adapted. And the older we get, the more we're invited to let go of the script and find something new. For many couples, physical habits form over years, sometimes decades, a certain approach, a certain pace, a certain way of beginning and ending that becomes familiar. But over time, those patterns can become stale, or worse, uncomfortable. The body might not respond the same way. What used to be exciting might now feel rushed. What used to be pleasurable might now feel irritating or even emotionally disconnected. But because those patterns are familiar, many people stick with them out of habit, or fear, or the belief that this is just how we've always done it. And that can create a quiet tension where neither person feels fully present. But no one knows how to change it. I once met a couple in their 70s, Michael and Susan, who said they felt like they were going through the motions during intimacy. When I asked what had changed, they said, nothing. And maybe that's the problem. They'd been repeating the same exact routine for years, thinking that if they just stuck to it, the old spark would return. But it hadn't, not because they didn't care, but because they weren't adjusting to who they were now. So they did something radical. They slowed down. They stopped treating intimacy like a checklist. They explored new kinds of touch, new positions, even new times of day. And more than anything, they let go of the idea that sex had to look or feel like it used to. What came back wasn't just pleasure, it was curiosity. That's what happens when you update your intimacy, not to be trendy, but to be truthful. You create space for new discoveries. You remind yourself that pleasure isn't about repetition, it's about attention. And what your partner needed 20 years ago may be completely different from what they crave now. The same goes for you. So, if you find yourself going back to the same moves, the same rhythm, the same story, pause, ask yourself, is this still working for me? For us? And if not, what might feel better? Even small changes, a slower pace, a shift in position, more time for warm-up, can open the door to experiences that feel more alive, more respectful, and more real. Because great intimacy at this age isn't about proving you've still got it, it's about discovering what it actually is now and sharing that with someone who's willing to grow with you. Number 4, using over-the-counter performance enhancers without doctor guidance. In an age where pills and powders promise instant vitality, it's tempting to reach for a quick fix, especially when intimacy doesn't feel as easy as it used to. But one of the most quietly dangerous habits among older adults is using sexual performance enhancers without proper medical oversight. Whether it's a popular blue pill, a so-called natural supplement from a gas station, or a drink mix ordered online, the reality is this: what helps in the short term may harm you in the long run. Especially if your heart, liver, or blood pressure isn't being considered. Here's what many don't realize: most over-the-counter performance products are not regulated the same way prescription medications are. That means you may not truly know what's inside. Some contain hidden pharmaceutical ingredients, unlisted stimulants, or substances that interact dangerously with common medications, especially blood pressure meds, nitrates, or diabetes drugs. That combination can lead to dizziness, severe drops in blood pressure, or even cardiac events during or after sexual activity. Even prescription drugs, while effective for many, are not one-size-fits-all. Your doctor needs to know your full health picture, your heart function, your medication list, your sexual history, before recommending anything safely. Skipping that step to avoid embarrassment or inconvenience puts your body at risk in ways that can't always be undone. I remember a man named Charles, 75, who started taking a supplement he'd found online. It promised stamina, energy, and better confidence. At first, it seemed to help, but he started noticing heart palpitations, then anxiety, then a nerve visit for a spike in blood pressure. Turns out, the natural ingredients were anything but, and they were interfering with his heart medication. All of it could have been avoided with a 10-minute conversation with his doctor. And here's the deeper issue: when we turn to enhancement products without medical guidance, we're often avoiding a much more important question: why do I feel the need to perform a certain way? Is it about connection or expectation? Is it for pleasure or to meet a standard that no longer fits where I am in life? There's nothing wrong with wanting to feel vibrant and connected in intimacy. But there is something dangerous about chasing the goal through shortcuts that ignore your body's current needs. If you feel you need support, start with a real conversation with your doctor and with your partner. Ask what's safe, ask what matters most, because the goal isn't to become who you were 20 years ago, it's to fully enjoy who you are now, safely, honestly, and with your health intact. If you're still watching this video and finding these insights valuable, please comment number 4 below to let me know you're here. And if you haven't subscribed yet, I recommend you subscribe and turn on the bell so you don't miss any videos. Your support helps us continue creating good content to inform and inspire you. Now, let's move forward. Number 5, expecting sex to look or feel the same every time. One of the most persistent myths about intimacy, especially in later life, is that it should still look the way it did decades ago: same positions, same rhythm, same kind of climax. But if you're holding on to that image, comparing each experience to a past version of yourself, you may be missing the very joy that's still available to you right now. Here's the truth: bodies age, minds shift, and emotions evolve. What you crave at 68 may be entirely different from what you wanted at 38. But that's not a loss, that's growth. And intimacy in this stage of life isn't about reaching a goal, it's about deepening a connection. When you let go of rigid expectations, you create room for curiosity, creativity, and comfort. But when you cling to the way things used to be, you often set yourself and your partner up for frustration, guilt, or disappointment. It's something I hear often from couples. One partner says, "We're not doing it like we used to." The other quietly admits, "I feel like I'm not enough anymore." But what they're both really saying is this: we miss feeling close. And we don't know how to find our way back. And the answer rarely lies in doing more of the same, it lies in being open to something different. I once spoke with a couple in their early 80s who had completely redefined what intimacy looked like for them. They didn't focus on frequency, or positions, or whether things always ended a certain way. Instead, they focused on presence. They said it felt better than anything they'd known before, not because it was wilder, but because it was real. Letting go of expectations isn't about settling, it's about expanding. It's realizing that what's most powerful now might not be the grand finale, it might be the soft beginning. The long conversation after, the shared silence in the middle of the night. And yes, sometimes the freedom to say, "Let's try something new," or "Let's just hold each other." Sex at this stage doesn't need to follow a script, it just needs to feel safe, connected, and true to who you are today. And once you stop measuring it against the past, you might find the present is offering you something even more meaningful. Because the beauty of intimacy in later life isn't that it stays the same, it's that it grows up with you. Final thoughts. As we wrap up this video, I want to offer you something simple but powerful. Intimacy at this stage in life isn't about performance. It's not about meeting expectations from the past or proving that nothing has changed. It's about tuning into what your body, your mind, and your relationship need now. And sometimes that begins not with doing more, but with stopping the things that quietly get in the way, whether it's pushing through pain, avoiding honest conversations, repeating the same routines, relying on risky shortcuts, holding your experience to old standards. These habits don't protect your connection, they limit it. And the moment you let them go, something surprising can happen. Intimacy becomes easier, gentler, more meaningful. So, which of these 5 spoke to you the most? Was there one you recognized in yourself? Or one you hadn't considered before? You're not alone, and you're not failing, you're learning. Because just like every part of our lives, intimacy evolves, and when we meet it with honesty and openness, it has a way of giving back more than we ever expected. The truth is, you deserve a connection that fits where you are, not where you used to be. And the people who truly care for you, who want to walk that journey with you, will be grateful that you were brave enough to say, "Let's try something new, let's do this differently, let's do this together." Thank you for joining us today. We'd love to hear from you. Leave a comment below and share one thing you learned today and how you plan to use it in your life. Your thoughts are important to us, so don't hesitate to share them. Reading your comments gives us great motivation and encouragement. If you enjoyed this video and found it helpful, please like, subscribe, and share. Your support helps us continue creating good content to inform and inspire you. Thanks for watching, and we look forward to seeing you in the next video.